Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a real puzzle in the Toledo, Ohio housing market. At first glance, the data seems to be telling a story of a major slowdown. But when you dig a little deeper, well, the reality is way more interesting. So let's get into the numbers.
All right, let's jump right in with the number that's turning a lot of heads. For the week ending November 22nd, Toledo had about 1,150 homes up for sale. Now, that is a massive 46% jump compared to the same time last year. You'd think that's fantastic news for buyers, right? More choice, less competition.
And when you've got more homes on the market, sellers have to compete more. And that's exactly what we're seeing. On top of that huge inventory jump, more than a third of all sellers are cutting their asking price. Now, normally that screams one thing, a cooling market, but you might want to hold that thought. So, with more listings and more price cuts, what does that actually mean for prices on the ground? And yeah, those price cuts, they're definitely showing up in the numbers. The median list price has dropped by 6.3% in just 1 year. It went from almost $235,000 down to $220,000. So far, everything we've looked at, more homes for sale, tons of price cuts, lower median prices, it all points to a classic market cooldown.
Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting and kind of weird. Because despite all these signs pointing down, what's actually happening is a whole different story. It's a real paradox. Get this, the number of homes that are actually being sold, getting scooped up by buyers, has jumped by nearly 12% from last year. So let me get this straight. There are more homes for sale, sellers are cutting prices, but more homes are being bought? How does that make sense? And that, right there, is the central puzzle we're trying to solve. How can a market look like it's cooling off and heating up at the exact same time? It seems totally counterintuitive, but the answer, it turns out, is hiding in one key metric.
To figure this out, we've got to talk about something called months of inventory supply. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. Think of it this way. If not a single new house was listed for sale starting tomorrow, how long would it take to sell every single home that's currently on the market? A nice, balanced, healthy market usually has about 4 to 6 months of supply. And boom, here's the answer to our puzzle. Toledo only has 2.2 months of supply. Remember, that balanced market is 4 to 6 months. So this means that even with that huge 46% jump in listings, buyer demand is still so strong that it's sucking up inventory like crazy. It is still, without a doubt, a seller's market. Okay, so we know what's happening. This super strong demand is just soaking up all the new inventory. But the big question is, why? Why is demand so high in Toledo? For that, we need to zoom out a bit and see how it stacks up against the rest of Ohio and the whole country. And the answer really is affordability. That's the name of the game. Just look at this. The price per square foot in Toledo, it's just over $140. I mean, that is a whopping 33% cheaper than the national average. It's pretty simple. Buyers are flocking here because their money just goes so much further. And don't think for a second that affordable means slow. Not at all. A typical home in Toledo is off the market in 49 days. That's right in line with the rest of Ohio and a full 28 days faster than what we're seeing nationally. So yeah, it's affordable, but it is definitely not a sleepy market. So let's put it all together. What we're seeing in Toledo, it's not a market crash. It's not some big downturn. The best word for it is a recalibration. You've got sellers who were maybe aiming a little too high, and now they're just adjusting their prices down to meet this wave of buyer demand that is still incredibly strong. All because the city is just fundamentally affordable. All right, so what does all this mean for you? I mean, beyond the charts and numbers, how can you actually use this information, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just trying to understand the market? Okay, let's break it down. If you're a buyer, keep your eyes peeled for those price reductions. Over a third of sellers are cutting their asking price, so there are opportunities out there. Now, if you're a seller, that 49-day market time is your reality check. It helps you set realistic goals. And for everybody, buyers and sellers, that 2.2 months of supply, that's your key negotiating tool. It tells you that despite the price cuts, it's still a tight market, all driven by that incredible value you get in Toledo. And that leaves us with one last big, fascinating question. Is what's happening in Toledo, this recalibration, where prices adjust to meet powerful demand in an affordable city, is that a preview of what's coming for similar housing markets all across the country? Could Toledo be showing us the future of the American housing market? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.